So you're really good at latte art then?
Oh. Yeah. My name is Eric Pierce. I own Caffè Pacori coffee roasters. I've owned a coffee roasting company for 9 years. I grew up in a really small town in North Idaho, and I met a guy who became a very close friend of mine. His name is Michael Allen. We were skater kids who would go to coffee shops and hang out, and just that culture, the social culture of that we were obsessed with and always wanted a coffee shop. We came here for a concert to Eugene, May of 2002, fell in love with Eugene. And so he moved here, and then I just follow him wherever he goes. I was heading to a job interview at a grocery store to do overnight stocking, which I did not want to dip. So Mikey calls me on the way to that interview, and he's like, if you come to this warehouse right now, I can pay you, I think it was like $10 an hour to sweep the floors. I turned the car around right there in the intersection. I was like, called up the place, was like, I'm sorry, hey, I'm not coming in. For the first couple months that I was here, the manager, she would come up to me like almost every day, and she's like, you don't need to be here. Like, I know what you're up to. And I would just be like, look, like I'm an integral part of this business. I was here for about a year, and some other people bought the business. So they asked me if I knew how to roast, and I was like, oh yeah, like absolutely. I didn't, I'd never roasted before. I did everything here but that. And so I taught myself to roast because I really didn't want a real job. And then when the previous owner, when their kids graduated, they're like, we're gonna get out of Eugene. So I bought the company from them. Where we're different is we have a firebox underneath the drum. The smoke is drawn through the beans and it cuts down the acidity quite a bit. Couldn't tell you why. I've never understood. I've been doing this 20 years. I couldn't tell you why. But the consistent compliment we get is that folks are like, I have a sensitive stomach and I can drink your coffee completely unadulterated. I've been a collector of toys, specifically like Muscle and like Battle Bees and Monster in My Pocket, stuff like that. I've been collecting that stuff for over a decade. It was my favorite toy when I was a kid because it was cheap. We were broke when I was a kid, but we could always get like quarter machine toys. You could get like a 4-pack of Muscle for like $1. And it was the having so many of them. Like He-Man doesn't have 200 different figures, Muscle does. And that was so appealing to me. The reason this place is like this is during the pandemic, you couldn't go anywhere, you know? You couldn't hang out anywhere. And so we started hanging out here a lot. And I had most of my toys were here just in boxes. And then we started to put in displays. I think I got this display and just like set it up, and I liked it so much that I started getting other displays and taking my toys out and putting them together. And it just became this. It was just, I mean, we weren't open to the public. It was just a thing that I was doing. People started showing up during the pandemic just to buy coffee beans from us because this is what this business is. Because of that, we opened up a little storefront in there, and I would start decorating in there with toys, and people started to hang out in there. 2022, we moved it out here, and then we just kept rolling with the toy thing, and people like, they love it. They come in and they I don't know, it's like a museum, but it just felt good to have it here. You have this big space and you can just cram it full of toys. And I didn't know that it was gonna become popular the way it did. Everything on the top shelf in this white case on the right, every single piece in there has some significance. But the Madball head poppers specifically are so near and dear to my heart because when I was a kid, I wanted one of those so bad. And I remember my mom was working a craft fair and I was being especially dickish that day. But I knew at the end of the day, we were gonna go get one of those Madball head poppers. And I remember at the end of the day, I've just been such an asshole all day. And I just be like, all right, let's go to Target. I'm doing this. My mom said, what does you think we're doing? And I'm like, we're doing one of those Madballs, you know? She was like, you blew it. And to this, it gives me goosebumps to this day. Just looking at it, my heart beats a little faster. I'm like, oh, thank God. I thought it would be amazing to have a morning where we put on just 80s cartoons. And I imagined it was gonna be on a very small TV and that we would just serve like little boxes of cereal. And so we did that here one time and it was packed. And then the next, like 2 or 3 more Saturdays we did it. And finally Jason was like, I can't do this by myself. You don't understand, there's like a line out the door. People in there playing skee ball and there's people asking, hey, can we watch this cartoon? And I was like, I just didn't know it would take off like that. We've met some amazing people who come every single Saturday. They bring their kids, like families come out here. And you got these little kids, these like 8-year-old kids. And I'm like, well, you know, they're like, who watch Pee-wee's Playhouse? It came together kind of on accident. Just us hanging out here. And then it became a coffee shop because people were hanging out here. So Eugene Weekly, the local magazine, every year they run a best of, and we never win best coffee. It's okay because everybody who wins is really good. But I'm like, God damn it, I want to win something. Did you ever watch Amazing Stories? There was an episode where these kids are being terrorists for their babysitter, and they get this one babysitter who's magic. And so these kids are running around their house, and at one point they open up a door, and it looks like a jungle inside. And the thing is very brief, but it looks like a bottle and pops out. And I have always wanted to create a room that looks like that. So I have a friend named, I know her as Kat. She's an incredible artist. And when I first met her, I'm like, we gotta do something together. I don't care what it is. And it took me like 3 or 4 years before I was like, I bet you could make us an incredible bathroom. We campaigned for it, write us in best bathroom, Caffè Pacori. And like right before that issue came out, my friend Todd, who works for the Weekly, called me up and was like, hey, I don't know what's gonna happen, but they've asked me to come take pictures. And he wanted me to take a picture of me sitting on the toilet. Like, hey, if you know me. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And he was like, what else is there, man? So I'm sitting on a toilet like an asshole, and I'm holding a Kanika Man magazine. And we won, and we got the cover. I'm seeing at first it was like nostalgia, but now it seems like a celebration, which is, to me, is very different. It's like when an 8-year-old kid comes up to you and says, I want to watch Pee-wee's Playhouse. It's like, there's not a 2000s version of that. There's the 2-year moment where that happened, and some kid, 30 years later, I don't know, that's beautiful. And everything we do here is in the interest of keeping that alive. I want this place to become a roadside attraction, you know what I mean? I would love for people to come and see our bathroom, come out for cartoons, just come and hang out, drink some coffee. Like, I forget sometimes that's the point of this, is the coffee. You know what I mean? It's like, no, we make really good coffee. We're wood roasted coffee. We're the only ones in town who do it. Maybe in Oregon who do it. But there's all this other stuff going on.